Today, we are very happy to invite Ms. Yasmeen, head of school of Tokyo Bay International School, to share us how their school implement Cambridge primary and lower secondary in the local context in Japan. So Yasmeen, over to you.
Thank you, Lena and In, for inviting me for this webinar. Hello to the rest of the panel members and to all the viewers from East Asia. I'm Yasmeen, head of the school from Tokyo Bay International School, Japan. Over the next 10 minutes, I would like to introduce you to Tokyo Bay International School as a case study, highlighting why we chose the world's renowned Cambridge curriculum and how we progressed just in 2 years from where we started in 2019. I would also like to highlight the skills and attributes that are necessary for the 21st century learning. I hope you can see the screen. Okay. So my main contents for this evening are challenges for setting up an international school, benefits and reasons for choosing Cambridge International curriculum, flexible Cambridge curriculum has been and is aligned with 21st century learning. I'm just going to give a sample school timetable, students growth and ratio, and of course, Cambridge support materials. So, the challenges are quite a lot when, as a young school, has to start up in a foreign land. For me to introduce a curriculum, there had to be a consistency right from primary years to the secondary school. And what I was looking at something was very close to every teacher's heart, the future of young people, what we were educating them for, what to expect when they complete their schooling, and for the rest of their lives. I wanted to follow a very local vision because being in Japan, Japan is a very technologically advanced country. I felt a strong need to match the expectations of parents to provide enriching experiences to their children and to the skill development that will be required for young learners, as the future will be, I think, accelerating with the world rapidly changing. I would just like to, put across a quote by Andreas, who has been OECD education director. He said, today, because of rapid economic and social change, schools have to prepare students for jobs that have not yet been created, technologies that have not yet been invented, and problems that we don't yet know will arise. So, with all these thoughts in my mind, and to have a combination of all these characteristics, I looked upon many different curriculums, and Cambridge International Curriculum had all the attributes that I was looking for. And hence, I went ahead to implement it at Tokyo Bay International School. So we all know what are the benefits of Cambridge education. Some of us are very new to Cambridge International. Some of the teachers are new to Cambridge. So I'm just, in a nutshell, I'm just putting it across that as a new school, I've seen Cambridge to be one of the best curriculums. Why? Because it's structured. And it cares for individualized learning or active learning for the student. And it was recognized all over the world because it was endorsed by the University of Cambridge. Universities were welcoming students from Cambridge education. The other most important aspect of Cambridge education was skills development. When we are looking at how the world is rapidly changing, where our students will be going, how they would match with the current situation or in the future, there is a lot of attribute by Cambridge education towards empowering the students to the 21st century learning. And I was really happy that we will be able to bring in STEM, robotics, or SDG goals for our children and help them move across each strand in a separate way. Of course, the other benefit I would say is it's a rigorous course. It's challenging, it's inspiring, and it meets the global standards for all the students when they are taking this international curriculum. Of course, result oriented, it is marked fairly by Cambridge standard, and our students who would, leave from the school to the universities have a very big edge when they are going towards very noted universities. So I think it's one of the best ways of moving forward. And of course, resources for any young school. We need guidance. We need a lot to have backing upon. So I think Cambridge International has a huge resource for teachers, for learners. These were the benefits that really made me move through for Cambridge education. And the other reason being in Japan, we can see a lot of expatriates coming in. As of 2019, we could see around 2.93 million foreigners living in Japan. The number of English speakers are increasing. They're coming from different countries, and they already have been used to, most of them have been used to English pattern of education. So for them, it would be a much easier way of coming into Cambridge International. I would say that Cambridge International is the school of future for young children because when they move back again to their home countries or they go back to universities, any part of the world, they can just transfer. They could just move seamlessly anywhere to continue their studies. Because Cambridge is, I think, right now in around 10,000 schools all over the world. So it's the most important aspect for any new school when we are talking to expatriate families, that they will be able to move very easily to their home countries when they go back. Cambridge recognition, that's very important for us because there are parents who are local parents or parents who have come from other countries. For them, it's very important to know whether the government has recognized the course. And next, of course, in Japan, Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science, and Technology in Japan, they have recognized Cambridge GCEA level to qualify for Japanese university admission. So this is a good takeaway for young schools like us. When we have Cambridge curriculum, we are able to talk into parents to say, yeah, look, you can even move to universities that are locally accepting our students. And of course, there are universities all around the world where the student can easily move around. So I've just shown a little table of how the Japanese system is. And of course, how the Cambridge we are going ahead. Of course, at TBIS, as a case study, I would say that we started Cambridge curriculum right from stage one, which is ages 5. And currently we have till Cambridge lower secondary. In the coming years, we are looking forward to move to IGCSE and A levels. So that's how we would be progressing as a young school. This is a very simple school timetable that I'm showing you. It's just a sample. When we started, I was just working upon it because Cambridge is a rigorous course and we need to give everything right from academics to personality development. So 75% went into the planning for academics, while 25%, which is, I think it's a very good percentage for extracurricular activities, STEM, robotics, sports, music. PE. There's so many things, as Lynn just told to all of us, that we need overall development, a holistic development. So when we plan the timetable, we made it sure that all these aspects were included within the time frame that would be allotted for the students. Of course, global perspectives for young students is activity-based program, and we have, we've made it flexible that they would be having it every week. And we, of course, for ICT, we, as a young school, we have included robotics. Another important aspect, as I was talking about, is Cambridge is a very flexible curriculum. Flexible because right from the beginning, stages 1 on to stage 9, our children, once they are introduced, they know the progression. They are introduced to all kinds of progression levels. So, it just kept moving on, and the students now are able or familiar with, all the aspects or key objectives, assessment criteria, and the learner's attributes. Of course, 21st century learning is very important. As I said in the beginning, how are we looking at, what are we looking at from our students? How are they going to have the learner attributes of Cambridge to the learner attributes of TBIS? So we went ahead, as I said, with being creative through robotics or other activities. STEM is one of our main activity here. We also have, given a lot of importance to SDG goals. SDG being a very current and a new topic. And I think the students need to have a lot of empathy. It's just not AI or robotics, which is the future. It's also how the students would be responsible in carrying out their tasks. So SDG goals would really give them a way forward for the future. So we've introduced them with that. And of course, being practical, being active learners is what we look forward for. So at TBIS, we have aligned all the attributes of Cambridge, and being a flexible curriculum, we are able to move forward very well. This is the students' growth rate that we've seen when we just started. It's just 2 years down the lane. We started with a few students, and we have grown very steadily despite the pandemic. We have seen a steady rise, and even now in the next academic year, we have a lot of calls for the admission. So that's a good thing for me. We have around students from 13 countries. I have just listed India, Japan, South Korea, China, America, South Africa, United Kingdom, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Nepal. It's a big group, I should say, for a small school, but I'm very happy to have this inclusion in our system because of Cambridge. The confidence on Cambridge that the parents have is showing a great. There's a small video that I would like to play for you. In a nutshell, I think we are following all the 21st century learning, how students would be able to take it forward and be confident, be engaged, and be innovative. For the rest of the session, I think it's already has been told about how Cambridge is helping all the teachers and the students. So for young schools, Cambridge support material is very important. I would like all the young schools or teachers who are looking forward to know more about Cambridge. They could just go to School Support Hub and see how all the resources. There are assessment materials, progression tests, and checkpoint. Of course, all the materials that is required for the teachers is there, and it's a good guide, I should say, to take it forward. Exam officers, yes, once you start with checkpoints, our exam officers will be contacted by Cambridge International, and they help to run and administer the exams successfully. Support for teachers, as I said, for any young school, it's very important to know what is available, how they could proceed. And professional development is one such thing that I've recommended my teachers, and most of them always are into this professional development learning community. We have webinars. We, look forward to the webinars so that we are updated through webinars and podcasts of the latest content that is given by Cambridge. So it's a valuable, I think, invaluable experience that I'm having as a young school. Of course, the pathway, which will take us to the high school before my students go on to the university. Just it's just a quote that the confidence on Cambridge International Curriculum is a token for young schools like us to provide world-class educational opportunities for global and local children towards 21st century learning. Thank you. Thank you. Any questions? Maybe later we could go ahead. Thank you, Lena. Thank you, Ian.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Yasmeen. It's very comprehensive and quite informative. And I believe it will be very helpful for schools who join us today and to be very young school for Cambridge. So everyone, if you have any questions to Yasmeen and would like to communicate with her, just feel free to type your questions in the Q&A box and we will take that later. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Yasmeen.